to episode number 2. We are excited to be here live on location. KBKG More Music, 93.5 headquarters, home station here in Corning, Arkansas. Big thanks to, let me turn that down a little bit.
Oh, you got your hand on. I just shaved my head this morning just for y'all.
That's awesome. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Coach, you have to rub this for good luck before you leave.
Yeah, several times.
Andy O's your host, alongside Bart White, Mark Hufford. We're excited to be here. We are awake.
Up Daddy.
Up Daddy. This is the middle-aged mutant Ninja Turtle. Which one do we think you were?
I don't know.
It wasn't Donatello too smart.
It had to be Donatello. It wasn't the dumb one for sure.
All right, I'm going to tell you something. Speaking of
Hey,
smart,
which one ate the most pizza?
I think that was a red one. You had a red shirt on. Speaking of smarts, we've got a guy here that is absolutely brilliant. If we put like one of those Rubik's Cubes in front of him, he'd have it solved in like 3 minutes.
Where?
Oh! That's a low blow. It's too
I
early.
ain't know that messing with him.
It's too early for that, man.
He
Come
knows
on.
I'm messing with him.
Assistant Coach Trevor Poe. Coach, it's good to have you here this morning.
Hey, it's good to be here. I thank you guys for the invite.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you. We certainly couldn't do this without having you here. My little girl's over here with us too
I hope
today.
they don't
so
stick their fingers in that fan.
I know. They'll learn pretty quick, won't they?
Yeah, when we have to take them to the ER and have their fingers sewed back on.
Oh, goodness. We got Coach Trevor Poe here, and we're going to go through some questions here with Coach Poe. Again, big thank you to him. Anytime it's game day and you can get a coach here. All right, so I've got kids screaming. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you guys take over and ask the questions.
All
Coach, real quick, though, before we get to that point, if you don't mind, as one of my kids are screaming hysterically, tell us a little bit about you real quick. She may have, yeah.
Coach Trevor Poe, grew up in Pocahontas, Arkansas. Two-sport athlete in college. Played football and baseball at Arkansas Tech and also at Williams Baptist. And been in Corning for 7 years now. Glad to be here.
Take us back to your childhood. Where did you actually grow up? Did you just grow up at Pocahontas?
I was in Pocahontas and been there my whole life. My dad was a Redskin. And
he answered 3 of the questions. On the first question, he answered 3 of the first questions. All right, we already know he played sports growing up.
Yeah.
That was the next question. Who were some of your role models growing up?
Growing up, and my biggest role model growing up was my dad. You know, he coached me in.
I know your dad very well.
Sports.
Nice guy.
He
Great
is.
guy.
And, yeah, he continues to be a role model today. And you know, anytime I need anything, I need to talk to somebody, I can call Dad. And that's a great relationship that
That's
I
what
have.
I usually call him. My rent house propane tank runs low.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Coach, do you have any celebrity crushes growing up or idols?
Celebrity crushes, man. Hannah Montana was a big thing when I was in school, you know.
She's
Big
just a
crush on
baby.
Hannah Montana.
She ain't now. Hey, Lisa's crush wasn't who he wanted to be his mom.
Yeah, that was Mike Smith, wasn't it?
No, it was
That was Walls. Wasn't it?
no, it was I can't even think of his name. The new AD.
Mr.
Mr. Hampton.
Yeah, Mr. Hampton.
We wouldn't throw him under the bus.
Did you hear that?
I didn't.
He said
see it.
Stevie Nicks was his celebrity crush.
Which is a good one, by the way.
Yeah, which is a good one. Then a couple minutes later, he said, yeah, somebody asked me, I always wished that Stevie Nicks was my mom and Willie Nelson was my dad. And I said, hold on a second. Are you saying that you wanted your crush to be your mom? He goes, you got me on that one.
Hey, real quick before they get into anything else, I want to say thank you personally for being here at Corning and staying as long as you had. You have been through the ups, the downs, and you're still here. Obviously, I know you weren't born here, you weren't raised up here in Corning. So for you to stay here through all that, I think that speaks volumes. And I don't know if you know this or not, and I don't think I've ever talked to you about this. And maybe you do know it. Maybe Treadway talked to you. But when Treadway first got hired, Coach Treadway, which was our previous head coach, I think I worked for the Courier then maybe. But anyways, I went to Walnut Ridge, and I did an interview with him. And we start talking, and I didn't bring you up at all. He just out of nowhere says, man, that Trevor Poe, boy, he's brilliant. And I'm like, that was out of nowhere. I'm like, Coach Trevor Poe, are you sure about that? You know, I was like, now hang on, Coach. And he had told me that he actually wanted you when he was at Walnut Ridge. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. So it didn't work out. I didn't know at the time. I knew that they wanted to hire me, but I didn't know at the time. Some stuff worked out with girls basketball, and I wasn't at a point in my career where I wanted to coach girls basketball really, you know, and it just didn't work out. Now I wish I'd have known then, you know.
Yeah.
But it's all worked out, you know. I came here to Corning, and then he came, and And he was a great guy to work under. Did my student teaching over there, and Coach Treadway is just a great man.
Well, he thanks a lot of you, and I thought that was so, because we had just started, and I mean he brought you up early and just volunteered, and I'm like, and when he said the smart, I'm like, what now? He said, and I can't remember what he told me. He said something about an either ACT score or something. I'm like, Coach Poe did that.
Well, we're gonna have him on the show again, and I'm bringing a Rubik's Cube.
Do it, bring it, baby. I guarantee you he'll have it figured out in no time.
Hey, I want to say something too. All the boys think a lot of you.
Yeah,
all of them, every one of them do.
Yeah.
I want to feed off that same thing. It's the consistency, the stability that those boys have had with you being there.
Yep.
Yes.
It means a lot to them. You can ask them all, well, okay, I'm going to get them all in trouble, but who's your favorite coach? And it's going to be Coach Poe because he has been with us through everything.
Yeah. Well, those boys, man, they show up and they
Hell,
work hard.
as smart as he is, he probably helps them all with their homework. That's probably why they like it.
But, man, that group of kids, you say I've been through the ringer. Those boys have been through the ringer.
Yeah, they have.
And they keep showing up, and it's the least I can do to just show up and be with them every day. So,
all right, Trevor, next question for you, buddy. What is the most exciting Corning sporting event you've ever witnessed or been a part of since you've been here?
Oh, man, I got to go back. It's a tie. I'm going to say it's a tie. It's got to be when we broke the streak
Yes.
over at Rector and with last year's Piggott game.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say that. That's
my
mine and
man.
Andy's, man.
My
I
man.
guarantee you.
Man, that when we broke the streak, just not necessarily the game, but just seeing
That was at
the
Rector, right?
community. Yes, sir.
Yes,
It
sir.
was at Rector. But just after the game, our kids walked over to the sidelines. They went straight to the band, and the band played, and the community I felt like the community just came together.
Hey, it was like a Super Bowl, man.
It was.
Honestly,
It was awesome.
it was.
You know what's
It
funny
was
about
awesome.
that? You say that like maybe joking, but seriously, before the
was.
game, if you think about it, Corning hit 42, whatever. I don't even like talking about it, but
Well, you brought it up, Andy, so apparently you
I
do.
know, right? And yet there's freaking people everywhere. I remember that was the first game we'd ever streamed, and we had to be on the opposite side. I remember looking over, I'm like, there's not a seat in the bleachers. And you're looking down there, there's people up and down the line here. There's people up and down the line there. There's people back over here. I'm like,
I wish I'd have been in the booth with you.
I was like, man, this is a 3A, 2A state championship game. What are we looking at here? But you're right, to your point about the community. And that meant a lot to a lot of people that night. You guys made a lot of people happy that night. I don't know that I actually teared up. I'm man enough to admit I teared up.
I might have just a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a long time, but since the little ones were born. But I teared up that night, so I'm with you on that one. And then last year the Rice Bowl, that felt.
That was just a battle, man.
Yeah.
That was a battle last year, and those kids, man, I give credit to those kids because they came out and they fought every minute. Both sides.
Yeah.
Both sides fought every minute of that game, and it was an awesome game to be a part of.
That was a good.
You
game.
know, I think, as crazy as it sounds, I think I'd have rather beat them 7-0. There's something about that just feels right to shut them out and to know that they were that close but couldn't get it. There's something about that just feels really. I got to ask you. So where's the Rice Bowl trophy right now?
Rice Bowl trophy. It's in the office. It's sitting on Coach Shelton's desk. It hasn't. He took it with him over to the indoor facility for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And then once summer started, he put it on his desk, and it ain't moved since.
That's awesome, man. I love it.
I hope we keep it.
Me too.
Hope we keep it this year.
It looks a lot better on this west side. I can
guarantee
promise.
it does. It don't even look like a trophy over there.
Hey, Coach Poe, if you could go back, what's one thing in your life that you would change?
Oh,
He'd
man.
probably be a little taller.
That's a good one. Now, I don't know if there's a lot that I would change. I think everything happens for a reason. I'm a big man of, we've got to learn from things, and I wouldn't be the same man I am sitting here today if it wasn't for everything that's happened in the past. So there's not much I would change.
So what's it like working with Coach Shelton?
Oh man, it's the only word I can use to describe it is just intense. He's just
He shows a lot of enthusiasm.
he
man.
is. It's the biggest thing is in everything that we do. It's the details. He's intense about the details. He's intense about every little thing at practice. He's his schedules for practice or everything. It's intense, and I love every minute of it. I've learned more over the past 2 years. Just about being a coach, not necessarily.
He's
about football,
definitely
just being
proven
a
himself
coach.
as a coach.
Right.
There ain't no doubt about that.
And he's a great man to work for. I can tell you that.
So last year's Rice Bowl win, how emotional was that for you?
It was extremely emotional, especially with those seniors. More so more so seeing those seniors just come through, because I think that group of seniors, we had lost to Piggott all the way up with that group of seniors, and then finally their senior year they come out and they fight, and just to see it in their faces, man, the excitement that they had after the game, it was awesome.
I'm curious, take me into the field house here, into the clubhouse, if you will. During that week, were they confident, even though they had lost all that, and then of course had maybe a rough year?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was confidence. It was more of a focus. They knew going into it, and we were going to have, we needed to have a good week of practices, and every day it was we needed to focus on this, and if we are successful in practice on Monday and we put it together with a successful practice on Tuesday, we knew we could be successful on Friday, and they were really focused that week.
I know me and Andy was excited in the booth. I had people call me, man, we couldn't even understand what y'all were saying.
Yeah,
I said, we don't care, man.
We definitely were. It was so loud that night too.
Oh man,
man, it really was like the crowd was very engaged.
Remember the guy that was sitting down there? We couldn't figure out who it was. It was cheering for us.
Yeah, I still don't know who he is. I think still to this day. I think he just showed up, and but man, that was awesome, and to be a part of that, I know for you it had to been pretty special, obviously, but it's been 10 years.
It has
10 years, long time. So that felt good. I know. You grew up in Pocahontas, so who is Pocahontas' big rival?
Highland.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys had any. You ain't got to say it if you did when you grew up. If y'all had any like off the field shenanigans, everything. But I know us and Piggott have always had something, even not just on the field, but something.
Yeah.
And so that meant a lot to us because that one goes way back.
Yep. There's definitely something to say about these small town rivalries, man. And Coach Treadway talked about it. Coming from
Coach Smith's the one that started it when he beat him. Was it 68?
Well, I think it was before that when they were egging our buses coming through there at Pollard.
Yeah.
Several years ago, and then this whole courthouse county. I could go on and on about that, and I think God made Crowley's Ridge just to kind of keep us apart. Honestly, I think it's what it is. He created that and said, "Okay, that's enough, guys. That's enough. Take a step back." They may have already asked this, but how did you and Miss Poe meet?
So my first year teaching was at Maynard, and she was my mentor at Maynard, and it just like any great relationship, we started out as friends, and it grew from there, and God created her for me.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty awesome.
I know your wife. She's a nice woman.
When did you know for sure? Hey, this is the one. Was there a moment? Was there something she said? Did she have
I don't think it was necessarily a moment. I think it was just, we grew closer, and eventually I was like, this is somebody I could spend my life with, and I'm glad she said yes.
Where'd you take her on the first date? Do you remember?
First date, man, that wasn't a big one. We went
Taco
to
Bell.
Rancho Bravo and Pocahontas.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's not bad.
That was when it was at the old building where the Japanese restaurant is.
Okay,
now.
yeah.
Oh, right there by the stoplight.
Yeah, I went
right?
there a few times.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, that's right. It used to be.
You cannot win with not going to Mexico. That's a
That's
a
right.
win-win.
I think
right
it
there,
is.
buddy.
Yeah. Is there anything more American than that? I don't think so.
Not around here.
Oh, good. That's great.
Okay, Coach Poe, do you like the bye week before the Piggott game?
I do. We scheduled that strategically. The bye week. We really think that's going to give us a chance, not only to prepare but to get healthy right before the end of the year and really the postseason. If we can, if we're blessed to make it to the postseason this year, we think that bye week is really going to.
That's
help
great
us
for
out.
minor injuries too, man. Because
Yes.
a week off, that's a good deal.
So.
Yeah, that's. It was interesting when I seen that. I'm like, man. And I was looking back in our history there because we got some documented, and I couldn't find a year where we had 4 non-conference games in a bye week.
Right.
Now with this new week 0 and getting a start earlier and stuff like that. So
it was really up in the air. I think it was around February. They were talking about possibly moving Newport back into the conference and stuff like that. So scheduling was a little later this year, but finally when it worked out, and they said we were going to be a man short. We were able to strategically place that bye week. So that was nice.
I'm glad they finally give us a break with some of these. I mean, we got a hard enough conference as it is. Let them go somewhere else and play for a little bit. Let somebody else get a little taste of that.
Yeah.
Trevor, growing up, did you always want to be a coach, or?
I did not. So it's a funny story. My whole life I wanted to be a dentist. And the appeal to being a dentist to me was I had a buddy whose dad was a dentist, and he worked 4 days a week. and they had this huge house, and they had all this. And I was like, that'd be real nice to only work 4 days a week and be able to do all this. And then my junior year, I had a sit-down conversation with Coach Williams. He's a great man,
Yeah.
I had a sit-down conversation with him, and I just decided, that was something I wanted to do one day, was affect kids the way he had affected my life. And so that was a decision I had made when I was 17. So
he was a good man, good coach.
He was,
Absolutely.
yes, sir.
Yeah, he was.
He's missed.
Yeah, for sure. He was there a pretty long time, wasn't he?
He was. I think it was around 40. I think it was 42 years.
Goodness.
If I remember.
Is Coach
correct.
Howard still around?
Coach Howard is still around. He's making his way around Pocahontas.
Is he?
Yeah. Last I seen him at Walmart a couple weeks ago, and he was getting around. So
That's pretty cool. So even at a young age, you were thinking, you're using that noggin of yours, man, thinking, hey, shorter work
How old
weeks.
are you, Trevor?
I am 29.
It's still not too late to go be a dentist, buddy.
No, we want him on the sideline. Don't tell him
Well, if
that.
he ever decides he wants to do something
Don't
different,
tell him that. No. I hear they're overworked now. I hear it's a bad profession. Don't listen to him.
he's lying.
Yeah. Sounds like Bart though, 4 days a week and living in
Hey.
a mansion and all that stuff. No, I'm kidding.
I wish I lived in a man. No, I don't. It'd be more to clean.
That's right.
It'd be more to clean.
I got to know something. I hear about Coach Poe and numbers. You're the numbers guy. Where did that come from?
I don't know what to tell you. I know when I was in the 4th grade, we had to memorize multiplication facts back in the day. And so I remember sitting at the kitchen table, my mom cooking dinner, and she just spouting multiplication facts at me. And I'd just sit there, and if I didn't get one right, she'd make me repeat it like 5, 6, 7 times. And ever since that was really when I first became really good with numbers. And, ever since, it's just numbers make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? It's patterns, I guess. Patterns make sense to me, and so numbers make sense to me. And it's been that way since about the 4th grade. That's
So you've been weird your whole life then.
I guess
No, not
that's
his
right.
whole life, since he was about 8, 9.
He just can't his brain can't process that, so that's why it's weird to him. So in staying with that though, I'm interested to know: are you big on analytics with football? Are you
big
on?
time? Yes, big time. We talk about we break down film. We were talking about the details earlier, and we're always trying to pick up on tendencies. We break down defensively. How often do they blitz? Where do they blitz? And the big one is offensively. Can we pick up tendencies there? And it's all about the percentages. We want to know how many times they've done this compared to doing this, and every little tendency gives us an advantage. And it's a big deal, especially to our kids. The more confident they are in the tendencies, the more confident they play on Friday nights.
If you're confident, you're comfortable. And if you're comfortable, that's a good place to be.
Yes,
and you're not thinking out there. I know Coach Campbell used to say, if my kids, if they're thinking, I'm in trouble. It needs to be, instincts. So, I think that's awesome, though. You've been here, obviously our longest tenured coach. But how many head coaches now have you been through? Is it
Coach Shelton is my 4th.
4th coach?
Yes,
wow.
Yes,
See, man, a guy like you, that would have been so easy. For you just say, you know what, okay, this is getting a little wild. This is another coach. Here we go. Maybe somewhere, back home or even close. Man, I have a lot of respect.
Yes, sir. Yep. Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man.
I'm just glad he didn't end up at Pickett.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Coach Mike Smith wouldn't have let that happen.
Yeah. You wouldn't have been liked very much.
Who was your? You was under Spear.
No, Stout. Stout was my first.
That was your first one.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It was Stout, and then Coach Mosley, and then Coach Treadway, and now Coach Shelton.
I got you.
And that's, I'm not in there with you guys every day, but from a coaching perspective, that's 4 totally different coaches.
It is. It is, and 4 totally different personalities, But
so
it's been a blessing to be able to work for some of the men that I've worked for. So.
I tell you what, to learn to be able to handle all those different personalities, that's good in marriage, too. Really good in marriage. I love you, baby. If you're watching, I'm just kidding.
You better check what personality she's in this morning first.
Well, it's funny. I was telling these guys.
If he hadn't went back and got the kids, it would have been bad.
This morning, it was real early, and I had left. I had forgotten that she had some stuff to do this morning. Bless her heart, she works so hard and takes care of the kids. And I thought, I got about, 10 miles down the road, and she called me. And she says, "What are you doing?" I'd forgotten it, so I'm off on the wrong foot already. Yeah. So, but I did turn around. I could have told her I was already.
Hey, at least you didn't hit the ignore button.
That's true. That'd been really bad. Yeah, I might as well crash with you guys, not in your mansion or something.
Yeah. Hey, I do have 2 extra bedrooms since the girls moved out, so
I'll have to remember that.
All right, let's get back to some football.
Okay.
I want to know what Coach Poe wants from his team tonight, offensively and defensively? What are you expecting from them?
Man, I want to control the line of scrimmage, and I think that's going to be something we talk about every week. And being senior heavy on the offensive line and defensive line, I think if we can control the line of scrimmage, we're going to be in a lot of ball games. And we're going to rely on those guys. Those are our leaders. You know, they've stepped up, and I think they're going to show us tonight what we've been preparing for.
How does Cross County's athleticism compare to the team we played last week?
You know, we're going to face a lot of athletes here early. I think Cross County has just as many as we seen last week.
Really?
You know, I think last week helped prepared us for what we're about to go through on the schedule. And you know, we prepared all week. You know, contain and gang tackle, and that's something we've got to do. We've got to get better at. So
yeah, that's
it's funny you say that. It's almost like a mirror image. I know their style's a little different, but you're looking at some of just the little tidbits away from the field. How many starters they have on defense come back? 10. Oh gosh, that's the same thing we had last week. How many on offense? 10. Oh gosh, you know, and listen, they had a big win against Harrisburg, which is a 4A school now.
Yes,
their rival on their new turf. That was. Did you guys see that game? By the way,
no, I did not.
Holy hay bells! What an ending! That was unreal. So they're coming off a big high, so they got a lot of momentum. But I feel like this is our bounce back week. I know, like I said, I mentioned that a couple years ago. I felt like Cave City game a couple years ago at home, and this Portageville game at home just was eerily similar. And that very next week, a couple years ago, we went to Yellville, and we really bounced back, and that's obviously what we're hoping for tonight. This week so far in practice, I mean, have you seen guys that have been down and out because of that game, or have you seen a?
You know, that's the thing with this group. You know, they right after the game, you know, they were like, "Okay, guys, let's forget it. You know, it's time to go back to work." And you know, they came in on Saturday and like Bart brought up, we did our running. You know, we run for penalties and we run for turnovers. So they came in, they did their running, and we dove right into film. And I'm telling you, these guys, they eat film up, you know. And we dove into that film, and they weren't happy with the result, just like we weren't happy. And so I think that motivates them, you know. And so this week at practice has just been a great week at practice. We've been focused. You know, we've prepared great. And so I think this week will be a good week for us.
That's awesome. Well, we love to hear that. I know I think one of you was about to ask a question, but how are we health-wise, if it's okay to give that out?
Oh, I think we're doing good. You know, Ethan Jordan with the knee, you know, he's gonna battle that all year probably, and we got a new brace for him, and he said the new brace feels good. So,
so he gonna play? He gonna play tonight?
I think he's gonna try to play tonight. Deal. So I think we're doing all right.
Awesome.
Mark, you got anything else for him?
I was making sure. It looked like he did, so I didn't want to.
You look like you had your finger going.
Last week I interrupted him like 3 or 4 times. He kept giving me a look. So
you interrupt me in the booth all the time, Andy.
That's true. I do. Yeah, I yap a lot.
Here I'm in there trying to be funny, and he wants to throw out stats.
Yeah, I'm a numbers guy. See, he understands that.
We were talking about having the different styles of coaching with the head coaches you've been through. Mm-hmm. What about the new coaches that come on board this year?
Yeah.
How do you see their future there at Corning?
Man, the new coaches, they've done everything we've asked them to do. You know what I'm saying? And all from Corning, all from Corning. And I tell you what, they go to work, you know, and they've been eager to learn. I can say that, you know, every step of the way they you know, well, let's watch film, or hey, can you explain this to me? Let's look at this. Let's, you know, and they're eager to learn, and they're high energy, you know, all of them.
Both played football too. That helps.
Yes. And so it's been awesome having those guys. You know, we're preparing for a running quarterback this week, so one of them volunteered. You know, like, hey, coach, I'll be the scout team quarterback this week. I'll run around. You know, and so it's awesome to have those guys out there. So it's been exciting.
So have you ever had to volunteer for scout team quarterback?
I've ran some scout team quarterback before, but I don't know if it was because I volunteered.
Are you more of a running quarterback? Are you more of a pocket passer? Well,
I like to hand it off. Just catch it and hand it off.
That's all.
Ray Stricker was the scout team quarterback. Nobody catch him.
Oh gosh, he ran like a deer.
He was fast, wasn't he?
He ran like a deer. Man, you ain't a kidding. That's pretty funny. I do like that. Gosh, you're probably. Well, how old's Coach Kyle George? He's older than you, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's 33, 34.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, man, you're one of the oldest ones there at 29, and that's. But well, okay, I got to know. This is kind of off the path here.
Okay.
What kind of genre of music are you listening to? Like when you pulled up this one, what's on your radio?
And I've got a playlist. I Spotify. I don't have Apple Music. I have Spotify, but my playlist has a little bit of everything. You know, we've got some old rock, we got some new rock, we got some
rap,
some R&B and rap. We've got some country music. You know, we've got a little bit of everything.
That's the way mine is, man. It's all over the place.
It is.
Do you have a preferred song that you go to before games that gets you hyped, or are you more of the calm guy that kind of?
I don't like listening to music before games. Believe
really?
it or not, you know, I like to. Especially now, you know, I look at my play sheet and I try to just imagine the plays and I try to figure out. You know, I'm thinking about the game. I try to say, okay, you know, what are they going to adjust? How are they going to adjust? I think that's the game inside the game. You know what I'm saying? We're prepared this week for what we expect, but how are they going to adjust to it? So,
bingo.
You know, before the game, I like to just try to be as focused as I can. So
he also has one other job before the game, and that's to keep an eye on Coach Shelton to make sure he don't stray too far.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because there was a game last year. I can't remember where we were at, and it was early on. And I didn't know that Shelton had kind of done that, but he was just wandering way off. I'm like, what is he doing?
It was probably
like to nowhere.
Probably Salem.
Well,
I think it was Salem. It was Salem.
We come out. We were in the locker room, and I swear he had walked out maybe 30 seconds before us, and I was like, well, I needed to say something to him. I can't remember what it was. So I walked out, and I was like, where's he at? And I started looking around. And I look over, and he's like a quarter mile away already. And
he's way out there.
Over there so fast.
Yeah.
It blew my mind that he had gone that far that quick.
Yeah. That's the night Jesus almost kicked one in the concession stand.
Yeah.
Hey, there's food over there, babe. Sorry. I'm battling these kiddos.
This one's out like a light.
She actually is, I think.
Yeah,
you're
she's
right.
asleep.
She's
How do kids sleep like that, man?
I don't know.
Let me climb up in your lap, see if I can sleep.
Get up here, Bart. Get up here, buddy. I got you.
Hey, we'll break that
stool won't hold us. Coach, we really appreciate you coming. We really do.
Appreciate the invite.
Anytime we've ever needed something, we don't have to sell you on it. You know what I mean? You've always just jumped in there, and that means a lot to us. I hope everybody can appreciate you. This is your seventh year? Okay, sorry.
First time I met Trevor, me and him was reffing Pee Wee basketball game.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to ref with him. I really am. But we really do appreciate you. I hope the community does too, for you sticking through all, like you said, the four coaches. You've seen the worst of the worst, and you've kind of helped build us back up to where we're respectable again. And that personally means a lot to me. And I know I bug you all the time, and I know you're probably, good Lord, with this guy. Anytime coaches got to deal with media, I know it's a headache. So you've never been mean to me about that. You probably should be. But I really appreciate that. So
man, we appreciate you guys. You guys do so much for not just the kids, but the community. And
we enjoy it, man. I know myself. I'm so glad he asked me to help him.
Yes, sir.
Like a couple years ago, I loved it. I did a couple games that first time, and then I guess last year I did all of them but one.
Yeah, we couldn't get rid of you. We tried.
Oh, yeah, don't let him talk. Hey, I know football season's ways away. You going to help me this year?
Got to lock him down. He's a free agent. I got to lock him some NIL money.
I'll do it as long as you let me do it, Andy.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. I really do. That's Coach Trevor Poe,
Thank you, Trevor.
Corning assistant coach here. We sure do appreciate him. Guys,